try it on a laptop. Okay. I have to look at what you're saying. Because they said that your CPR/first aid, they say you're the, oh, so you did your defensive driving? Okay, well, okay. I'm gonna let them know that, webinar, not webinar, CPR. And if you can, go, yeah, I wanna see your thing and see what's going on. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
$98 a month, can you believe that? That's 20,000 things in there.
Now you can save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile, which means fiber-powered internet at home and
They are. All right, Alexa, take it away. Yes. What do you got for us now?
We do have a big update, actually. We've been talking about the rain all morning. We're a couple hours away from official landfall of Francine, but the northern part of the eye wall is approaching the coast now. So Terrebonne Parish, starting to see the northern part of the eye wall approach the coastline at this point. So we're getting to the point where a couple hours from now, the eye will be moving onshore, but just that northern side of the eye wall starting to approach the coast, bringing the gusty winds, of course, and the heavy showers for Terrebonne Parish and parts of Vermilion Bay. Now, a wider look at the area. We're just experiencing the outer bands, the heavy bands of showers that comes in heavy tropical downpours, some small breaks in the showers, but with these showers, like we've been mentioning, they can kind of twist and rotate. So we'll watch for any isolated tornado potential. If there was a quick spin up, it would be quick. It wouldn't last that long, but something to keep in mind if you do happen to get a tornado warning in the next couple of hours.
Don't be rude and block me from my room. Yeah, that's jeez.
Stay away from windows and doors. Just continue to kind of stay inside. I hate to keep saying hunker down, but kind of wait it out and just ride this thing out, because we got several more hours of heavy rain and strong winds. So the strongest of the winds will start to pick up getting into the later half of the afternoon and through tonight as the eye approaches landfall. So landfall still expected to the evening time frame, but starting to see that northern edge of it move into Terrebonne Parish. So Houma will be seeing some. I wanted to show you the winds for our immediate area now. So at this point, sustained winds 15, 25 plus miles per hour. Those gusts only at 20, 25 miles per hour now, but expecting those hurricane force winds for Terrebonne Parish and for the center of the course of today by the late afternoon and evening. Again, those worst possible wind gusts may be up to 70 to 80 miles per hour near the center of the storm for Terrebonne Parish, for our bayou parishes, and for the river parishes this evening. So worst case scenario gusts 70, 80 miles per hour. So that can certainly knock out some power. We could get an isolated gust up to 70 miles per hour or so in the New Orleans metro, but generally expecting tropical storm force winds across the entire area. Just have those phones and those devices charged. Of course, we'll continue to watch the rain move in this afternoon. So the heaviest of the showers happening now. That will continue for the next several hours into the later evening hours tonight. So we can get some flooded roadways. Make sure you're staying off the roads at this point. You're inside. You're avoiding any flooded roadways. If you have an absolute emergency and you have to get outside, You want to avoid those flooded roadways today, but stay off the roads if you can. Even through early tomorrow, we could still see that standing water because we've got the surge coming in plus the heavy rain. So there can be some standing water on the roadways going into the next day. So it will take time for the water to recede. I want to show you the wind field graphic like we were mentioning. The strongest of the storms, of course, right in that center core. So from Morgan City, Vermilion Bay, parts of our bayou and river parishes, we'll be seeing the strongest of those winds coming in for the evening hours. This is around 7 o'clock tonight, give or take during the evening hours. That's when the strongest of the winds pushing in for our bayou parishes, river parishes, and then getting into tonight as the system moves inland, still packing some stronger winds near the core, especially towards Baton Rouge late tonight. But those stronger winds also expanding along I-55, parts of Tangipahoa Parish can be seeing those pretty strong winds getting into tonight around 50 to 73 miles per hour. So certainly seeing those strong winds across the entire area of 39 to 58 miles per hour tropical storm force, but closer to hurricane force winds right near the center for our western spots, Baton Rouge especially, but even places like LaPlace and Hammond getting in on those higher gusts getting into tonight. So we've got several hours to kind of wait this thing out. It's not going to be until overnight we'll see those improving conditions expected. Overnight hours, we'll see the rain shift off to the north, and that's when really things will start quieting down for us. So switching back over to the radar just so we can kind of track this thing and see, what's currently happening. We've got the heavy rain happening now. The winds will continue to increase the rest of today. The strongest of the winds expected tonight, really early evening dinner time, and then overnight things will subside. Overnight it may be a little bit windy, especially for our northern spots, North Shore and southwestern Mississippi staying windy overnight, but really starting to see things drying up and clearing up overnight. We'll stay a little breezy early tomorrow, but tomorrow that's when we see those winds wrap around and come in from the west. Tomorrow, breezy west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour should help kind of push the water away off the coastline and help kind of that surge problem through tomorrow just slightly. But like I was mentioning, there can still be some standing water even after the rain is done tomorrow. So another look at this, I did want to mention, like how I said, some of these storms can have that twisting motion. So we are under a tornado watch for today because of that isolated tornado risk. That's really the lowest on the list of things to worry about. It's kind of the heavier showers coming in, the strong damaging wind gusts that will probably knock out some power going into this evening and knock out maybe down some trees and doing some minor damage through today. Hopefully we'll get lucky. We won't have to deal with a lot of damage with this storm, but really the good silver lining is that it's not going to be with us for that long. Like we've been saying, once it moves on shore, it will be moving pretty quickly. By tonight, we'll be seeing those quieter, calm conditions coming in overnight. So past midnight, we get into the overnight hours, things really start to settle down. But yeah, the northern part of that eye wall approaching Terrebonne Parish. So our coastal spots, Terrebonne Parish, starting to see the heaviest of those showers within the band, within that eye wall band, and some of that strongest tropical storm force and hurricane force winds going into Terrebonne Parish now. So I wanted to pull up another graphic again just to show you the cone like we always show you, kind of what you can expect. We have several more hours of rough weather, but that's about it. So the latest cone still indicating that the storm is going to maintain its strength as a Category 1 at landfall this evening, and around maybe dinner time, 7 p.m. tonight, it will be moving inland. And then as it moves inland, it still will pack those strong winds along the I-55 corridor towards Baton Rouge tonight. So strong winds still anticipated as we move inland. And then by tomorrow, very early, it will already be near Jackson, just in the Jackson vicinity by early tomorrow morning, and then it's out of here into the Midwest by this weekend. So we just have a few more hours of rough weather, the roughest of the weather coming in during the late afternoon and evening today and into tonight, but overnight things kind of quieting down. And I know we wanted to talk, we have several reporters out on the ground, getting into like seeing what's exactly happening out on the ground. And so it's really vital that we're seeing what they're getting into, how much of that water is piling up and how much of the surge is already starting to happen. Like we've been mentioning, our low tide is actually coming in later this evening, which may help a little bit. I know it's kind of a small silver lining, but the low tide that is expected going into this evening will help the surge problem ever so slightly. I want to look at these winds now, current buoy readings. Of course, the strongest of the winds near the center of the storm, the hurricane force winds right near the center of the storm, but starting to expand and reach closer to Vermilion Bay. And we'll start to see those strongest hurricane force winds go right along the coastline over the next couple of hours, and then those strong hurricane force gusts are possible as the storm travels inland this evening. So just keep that in mind. The roughest of the weather is still ahead. So you're thinking, oh, we're good, everything's fine, it's just a little bit of rain and wind. Things will start to kind of increase getting into the rest of today when it comes to the damaging wind potential. And really that would be the biggest thing, is the wind and the surge with this. Like we've been saying, the surge still going to be with us throughout the course of today. Now, I did want to throw in another graphic here, loading up kind of the wind threat, just so you can kind of get an idea of where you live and what is expected for you. Also, I did get a latest update from the National Weather Service. There is actually a wind reading coming in from Cocodrie, sustained winds in Cocodrie right now. This is from the National Weather Service, sustained 75 or 74 mile per hour gusts. At a station just offshore in Cocodrie. So it is a little bit elevated, this reading, but 74 mile per hour wind gusts. Sustained 74 mile per hour in Cocodrie with a gust of 91 miles per hour. So let me redo this. Cocodrie right now gusting at 91 miles per hour. Just offshore, sustained winds at 74 miles per hour. So seeing those winds pick up for our coastal areas, like I was mentioning, Cocodrie seeing that gust at 91 miles per hour. This just in from the National Weather Service. Sustained winds, hurricane force for just offshore Cocodrie at 74 miles per hour. So the winds picking up for our coastal areas. This is what we have, the strongest of the winds starting to push onshore. But like this graphic shows, our coastal areas, Terrebonne Parish, coastal areas of Terrebonne and Lafourche, can see those gusts between the 80 to 90 plus mile per hour range like they're seeing now. 91 mile per hour gusts just offshore of Cocodrie. So that's what we have at this point. And then we'll continue to see those strong, damaging winds for our coastal areas and into parts of our river parishes into the evening hours. 70 to 90 mile per hour gusts possible for western Terrebonne, Houma, Morgan City. Could see that action later today. Also for our river parishes, 50 to 80 mile per hour gusts possible getting into this evening. And then further eastward for the New Orleans metro area, can't rule out some stronger gusts, maybe up to 60, 70 miles per hour for the New Orleans metro. The further east you go, expecting maybe 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts. And then South Mississippi, maybe 20 to 40 mile per hour gusts. So we're talking some pretty strong winds across the area that can do some damage when it comes to, knocking out power, especially with the saturated grounds, knocking out some trees. If a tree falls down on a power line, we know what's going to happen with that. So this is what we have for the latest at this point. We have another update coming in from the National Hurricane Center at 3 o'clock. They're updating every hour to get you the latest information since it is approaching the coastline. Just a few more hours and it will be onshore. So the northern eye wall again approaching Terrebonne Parish, and we'll continue to watch as this eye pushes onshore this evening and will bring us the strongest of the winds. But already seeing the reports of 90 mile per hour gusts just offshore of Cocodrie from a ship shoal reading, I believe it is, just offshore of Cocodrie. So one of those monitoring stations just offshore for near those oil rigs. So that's where we're getting that data from now. 91 mile per hour gusts just offshore of Cocodrie, sustained winds at 74 miles per hour. So seeing those very strong winds already roll into our coastal spots early this afternoon, and that will continue to be the trend into the rest of today. So we'll be here monitoring all of this with you every minute of today. We'll be here until it moves onshore and moves inland. We'll be with you until the storm passes off and out of our area, and we are expecting to see those improve.
Yeah.
Your ass, boy. Yes, I'm doing fine.
Hey, get your nails off, man. I'm trying to cook this.
Let me look on my schedule and make sure. I know we got you on here, but let me see what time. Yeah, we got you for 2 o'clock.
Let me put the kettle. Sorry.
2 o'clock. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes, we got it for 2 o'clock.
What made you laugh? What? What? What are you laughing at? Moxie, why you won't leave me alone? Remember, I wanted you to play with me. You didn't. Like that. I want to put you in the car because that's how you start. Midnight though, when this one too, but I guess it wouldn't be as much. Well, not everything. I don't know. Gosh.
Well, I don't stay there, I suppose. But she's, I know she worked last night, so she's probably asleep. That's fine. Yes, I'll do that.
I didn't mean to kick on the table.
She didn't tell me much, and she don't tell me much. So,
I don't know. I hear the voice from her. What?
Conditions getting it.
I own a lot of businesses, so my tech and my
Just
network
no
need to
ring
keep
is
up.
that one.
Thank you, Verizon Business.
Now our businesses get fast and reliable internet from the same network that powers our phones.
And I guess mornings,
I'm cooking with
thing.
fire. Switch
I
to
think
the
it's
partner
nice.
businesses rely on.
Upset stomach, indigestion, 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature.
If you're looking to treat yourself to something you truly deserve,
Stay with WWL Louisiana for the very latest on air and streaming on WWL Plus.
You shall not pass!
This is a Fox Weather Alert. Welcome back. Thanks for being with us here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Ian Oliver. This is Fox Weather Now. Right now, the Louisiana coastline is bracing for a direct hit from Hurricane Francine, with landfall expected likely in about 2 hours from this point, but parts of the I-1. Already on shore. You can start to see that in the radar picture here, some of that imagery across the southern part of the state along the Gulf Coast. This is the 3 p.m. local advisory, or what the story is with that. We get hourly updates from the NHC at this point. Winds holding steady at 90 miles per hour. Its pressure is actually down a touch, and its motion is off to the northeast at 17 miles per hour. Want to point this shot out to you. That is the live feed from exclusive Fox Weather storm tracker Brandon Coppett. We're going to talk with him about what it's like in that northeastern part of the eye wall in just a moment. Fox Weather is your Hurricane HQ. We've got team coverage from all across the region, from Morgan City over to New Orleans, Gulfport, Mississippi, the whole team bringing you the pictures and the impact.
Yeah. Something wrong with the live stream.
And while it is a weak hurricane, it's still a powerful hurricane. And over the last, I'd say 20 minutes or so, visibility has significantly dropped with the heavy rain. We've gone from virtually, 10 to 15 mile an hour sustained winds to we're definitely up to about 40, 45 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts above 60.
Yeah, all the while.
See, now they getting it.
Feeling the influences of those strong upper level winds, which are shoving it a little bit farther off.
Oh no, it looks like I don't
as you're storm tracking. You're always on radar. We talk to you all year long as you're in pursuit of severe storms. But what this has done in the short term, as we've been checking in with Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Brian Norcross, boy, did this make a hard ride over the last couple of hours. Unclear if it wobbles back, but how did that play?
No, it looks like it's going to miss that part.
Location for this afternoon.
Well, it's been a lot of driving back and forth, I can tell you that much. We saw Seidel out in the field. We crossed paths with them a couple of times when they were out on the beach driving across 90. And it's really just been trying to find the safest area. With surge being an issue, that's a big focal point. I'm kind of at a high point where I'm at. I'm actually at 25 feet above sea level, which is the perfect place. That way, if surge does come in, it's only going to get up to maybe 15 tops. So I might be in a position where I might have to stay here if the surge becomes an issue. But if not, we're only worried about the time.
Okay. So for them, it made landfall before night.
That way they'll fall to the right.
Yeah, for reference, Brandon is due south.
Right.
That's where we were checking in with Robert Ray and saw what it looked like there. There isn't a ton, thankfully, population-wise, in between you and the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of marshy areas, a couple of communities. You mentioned the surge. Brandon, oftentimes we find ourselves in worst-case scenarios, but purely from a surge standpoint, with the low tide cycle
get
into the middle of this evening, that's as best case as it gets, because it takes a couple of feet off the top end potential. What is the overall concern with what you're seeing at that location? Yes, you could potentially be cut off for a period of time, but you will have some of the stronger winds, and the rain has been prolific. We're kind of the ditches, the marshes high already from last week.
Yeah, the ground is very saturated out here right now from all the trees that they've got over the last week or so. And that's just another thing we've got to be prepared for. I've got 2 chainsaws pressed in the back.
Wait, this reminds me of Ida. Hold on.
I'm capable of being able to cut trees out of the way and help clear roadways. And obviously that's a big priority of ours to help emergency responders be able to get where they need to get. But the main thing right now is just safety, finding a safe spot to sit where you don't have to worry about surge. No real hazards when it comes to debris, and you just kind of gotta ride it out.
Yep. And it's just that. We've been keeping an eye on.
If you're looking to treat yourself to something you truly deserve, or step into the unknown and try on some new adventures.
This water is coming right across the road. I think Vince. He's in a more precarious spot, of course, than where Brandon is. I mentioned Corey. Yeah, Gulac is just off to the south. It's one of the two communities. I mentioned there's only south of where Brandon was. Well, Vince is in one of them, just off to the south and east of Terrio. And this in Dulac is a very, very low elevation. I'm actually going to take a look at that because clearly you see these marshy areas, the bayous around that. They're spilling up right in up and over the road. That's State Route 57. I believe that is likely either Bayou Sail Road or Grand Kyler Road. That's rolling right along the river that runs through there. So yeah, you see the issues as you get into, there's Troopers Row runs right along. That actually looks like a business like that. That runs right along that river. When you're in a low-lying spot like that and the water starts to come up, he's in a favored spot for surge, but as I mentioned, thankfully we are close to low tide. That is helping a bit. Let's go out to Fox Weather's Robert Ray. He's in Houma, Louisiana. That's 60 miles southwest of New Orleans and a little ways off to the north of where we were just seeing the live picture. Robert, great to have you back. Would love to know what your experience has been like here because we've been watching the trends and our teammates, our colleagues off to your south have found their way into the northeastern part of the eye wall of this, which appears now to be directed directly toward you.
That's exactly chasers that are down there on the marshes, and I'm glad that they have found some high ground. They're very important. They know what they're doing. Totally. Just to the north of them here in Houma, and we are experiencing now the beginnings of some of the wind field coming in from the northeast eye wall, and it will just get more intense here in the coming minutes and certainly in the next hour or so. As you see the bayou starting to get rustled, the water picking up the trees, starting to sway, and some of the palms as well. The biggest issue right now, of course, is we just anticipate this power outage coming at some point here soon. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. We already have some power outages in the region, but up in the major metropolitan areas like New Orleans and even Baton Rouge, they potentially could see widespread outages. We hope it's not like Hurricane Ida 3 years ago, which in some spots it was days and weeks without power, unfortunately. But we've had rain come in throughout the morning and in the afternoon, and now this is really just kind of the most consistent wind field that we've had. It's not sustained, but when you begin to feel it like see down on that coastline where some of our trackers are 7 to 10 feet of storm surge, and that is
We only looking for part-time, meaning a couple of days a week. And they may train.
touch. Now you can also see how fast. Look like it's about to get worse.
said, Jeremiah, unlock the door for me. Yeah, 'cause I gotta know as soon as possible because they don't like it. I'm late, I'm late. Okay. Hello? Hello? I'm glad we off tomorrow. Well, their schools are still closed. Where they at? They said they not open back up till Friday. So she's trying to get her kids' dad to, look, I have to get Amanda, not Amanda, Michelle to do Alabama. Well, I gotta see how the weather is. If the weather's bad, then of course I'm not gonna have them driving. Well, that's why I say I don't know how it's gonna be. Mama, they know that, they in Mississippi, they know. Well, yeah, that's what I'm for the city. No, but I gotta do this work here, but yeah. I mean, nothing I can do. Huh? No, that's only if the weather's bad, but I'm not gonna have her driving the weather bad. I do have compassion. But if the weather bad, I can't have nobody out there. But Mariah already canceled people for yesterday for Thursday, I already. And I told them, I wake up in the morning, I'll get in the car. See how they weather is. And thank you for this, what's her name, social said, she called her to see, but she said she don't know herself. If you do not mind, please call the patient to let them know that if the weather is bad, they don't have to fly for the airplane. Yeah, I'm gonna let them know, this phone we'll be working on y'all in the whole weekend. Yeah, I know. I'm not, I see, I'm gonna let them know, I'm trying to get everything set up. So hopefully, we'll be following the first week of October.
Please, my allergies freaking kick in.
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than.
The storm is overall structure is weakening in those strong upper level winds. So here's the latest cone from the Hurricane Center, and you notice that, remember, this is only with the center. This isn't that whole croissant thing, which is bigger than the width of the cone. But you can see now it's more between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, where earlier today it was aimed right at Baton Rouge. So everybody anywhere near this is going to have to.
Oh no, we almost in the briefing. We're about to do it now.
Here's the thinking for the winds from the Hurricane Center. These are the hurricane force gusts now. And look how far out to the east they extend. This is the hurricane force sustained. This is the 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm force wind. Watch as we go through the evening here, and it lifts to the north. So here we are, 8 p.m. Central. Notice hurricane force gusts into the western part of Metro New Orleans. And then the strongest winds over here. But remember, it's not so much a center as it is a croissant. So as it moves to the north, it's going to sweep across the populated corridor there from New Orleans on up to Baton Rouge, over La Place, over Hammond, Gonzales, and these other suburbs in there. So want everybody in New Orleans to be ready for all the things that can happen.
Category 2 hurricane making its way onto Louisiana's coast as we speak. I'm Devin Bartolotta along with Katie Moore here. We've been covering this all afternoon, but the 4 o'clock update just came down. So let's get right out to Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin with that update. Chris?
It's not something we wanted to see, but I was talking the last time I was with you of this little burst of convection. We had seen a lot of those taller cloud tops really getting ripped apart by the dry air and wind shear. And almost its last-ditch effort, the storm was able to kind of concentrate a little bit of energy, get this explosion of thunderstorms, and that is where we found winds of 100 miles an hour, which does now make this a Category 2. So it will be pushing on land throughout the next couple of hours as a Cat 2. Not on land just yet, while we are seeing kind of the outer northeastern eye wall, which is where the strongest of the winds are. We were talking about those wind gusts earlier in Cocodrie. That's where we're getting some of the strongest winds on land in Terrebonne Parish, kind of also extending into St. Mary Parish. Now the motion still toward the northeast at 17 miles an hour. And really, aside from that kind of burst of convection, an increase in the winds. We also saw the pressures decrease at 972 now. Really nothing else has changed with regards to what impacts we're anticipating through the rest of this afternoon, evening, and tonight, how large the wind field will be. This is very concentrated right around the northeastern center of the storm, and it is right within that eye wall. Nowhere else you're really going to find winds of 100 miles an hour. So again, as far as the impacts go, it does not change anything. The good news is this will keep moving very quickly and will already be out of the state by about 1 or 2 a.m. But on radar, that is where we're getting those initial bursts of those strongest winds of now being reported by the hurricane hunters of 100 mile per hour. So that does make it a category 2. Again, this is kind of the last ditch effort by the storm to get a little bit more out of the energy that has kind of been able to concentrate around that center. And almost despite the fact that we do have that strong wind shear in place, it was able to take advantage of that little bit of energy, and right before it moves on the onshore, again, in the next couple of hours, we're still probably almost 2 hours away from a landfall. The eye wall is certainly crossing on land, but we have to wait for the actual center of the eye to cross the coast. That is the official landfall of the storm. But where are we getting some of those intense rains and likely some of the strongest winds? 5 Mile Oaks, southwest of Morgan City, over Morgan City. We have Lily Cummings in Houma. She's probably starting to get inundated with some intense rainfall and some of the strongest winds. Those continue down toward Chauvin. Cocodrie, you're almost now kind of in the eye of the storm. We'll have to look at, we've got a couple of cameras that are down toward the coast. We'll have to take a look at those in just a moment. But this is moving very quickly. Notice Raceland, Thibodaux, just now getting on kind of the northern part of the eye wall itself, where you're going to find more of those intense winds. We'll see what the wind reports are from around the Thibodaux area to see if they match or we were able to find even those 100 mile an hour winds. And something that is at times almost misleading. There may be one observation point that was able to find the 100 mile an hour winds, and then elsewhere, even nearby, you don't find winds supportive of that. So we just have to find that one observation with winds kind of at the highest point to mark what the full strength of a hurricane is. You may not find those 100 mile an hour winds elsewhere within the band of the eye wall that is now moving onshore. Again, the center is not too far away, so that will be crossing probably within an hour, maybe at the most 2 hours, which is about what the Hurricane Center had been saying as of their kind of updated forecast last night, that we'd probably be looking at more of a late afternoon, evening time frame for the storm to make landfall, and it looks like that is coming to fruition. Again, motion toward the northeast at 17. Hopefully, in the next several observations, we'll start to see those that forward motion increase a little bit more. We're getting another round of some more of those intense rains over the metro area. As I said, though, they are moving very, very quickly, and that has also been an issue. We only have had a couple of tornado warnings issued, but if we do see any additional, it kind of falls within these little cells that race through very, very fast, and at times they tend to be embedded within some high wind gusts, so they're very hard to track. They usually don't really show up on velocities very well because you've got this usually weaker wind of rotation, the wind speed signature within strong winds associated with a hurricane, a landfalling hurricane. So sometimes those little spin-up tornadoes are either not actually occurring because again, these are usually radar indicated, not actually observed on the ground, and they tend to be embedded within some strong winds either way. Heavy rainfall at times in pockets on the North Shore and also into Mississippi. That will continue and start to increase as we go through the rest of the afternoon. And again, conditions as they are.
Trains. Trains that sense what isn't on the
On this time, yes. Alexa.
Yes, ma'am. What's going on? What? They want some underhanded, they want some underhanded shit. And they're trying to make excuses because every time you look up and you go and have somebody do that, y'all want to treat like shit. And then you talk like white folks. Yeah. Exactly. And then they got us doing that overtime because I guess they behind already that shit on that. They behind on that good fees and all the other stuff. But look, they got Mike over right as usual, and they only let you do 2 hours. And if you call in, you can't come in there trying to do overtime, which I already know that. And like if you left a if you leave due to the weather, you can't do overtime. Oh, I'm gonna matter of fact, I'm gonna send it to you. I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna send it to you. And let you read it. Because you gonna be like, oh, what? Cause I ain't never in my life heard they make up too much. Oh yeah, this one Miss Spray said about social media. She said, good afternoon, team. This is relic of essence of our lives and serve as a vehicle to help connect with us and collaborate and network with friends, families, and organizations. As a reminder, the use of social media as a federal employee requires responsibility, professionalism in our interactions and activities. Please review VA social media policy attached and it's in section 7, providing guidance on the social media behavior. They said when blogging, social networking, identify themselves and their roles as VA representation when committing or complaining on providing information on matters related to the VA mission. Oh, okay. And then she was like, never use profanity, derogatory statements, use privately create words without the expression, written permission of the author or quote more than short excerpts of other people's work. Everybody has known that. That's what she highlighted. Hello? Hopefully y'all ain't on me. Oh, that's, she did, wanna reiterate, I guess, but at the same time, I mean, I'm assuming everybody know not to be out doing certain stuff. I don't know that, I don't know if, you know, I guess out there smoking weed while they on, you know what I'm saying, and they're showing guns and shit like that, that's common sense to me. You know, because it, yeah, it did stuff like that. But I just sent you this, I sent you well, I asked, I was talking to Tamika, Tamika said that she was talking about increment days like Thursday and Friday, and she said that you can't do increment days. Together. And she said that is, she told me, she said, girl, that is just so stupid. He's like, what difference does it make from somebody working 5 days a week doing telehealth? Oh, they did, she, Tamika said, she even asked her. She said, well, Miss Fred, what, I mean, I'm not understanding what difference does it make if somebody works 5 days a week. And she told her that, well, we just can't do like the weekends together. She said, so somebody do Monday and Friday? That's not intimate. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't say no. So I told him, I said, okay, well, I'll do Monday and Friday. How about that? And here and there, I may change it up. I may say I want to come in Thursday, but I ain't studying folks. I ain't studying. Well, we still keep the hands up. Because they, that's why I told her. Yeah, that's why it is, but it's not, I need for her to see in writing in the policy of the VA or the, master union, anything right, they can do. It's not in there, but, the word, so she is trying to, she really is drawing a line and she don't be crossed that. Exactly. That's why I'm saying she has to show people like, so they act like the word is there in the book. You know, yeah, it's managing the scripture, but it's supposed to say it in there. Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying, I don't know, I'm thinking. Really is making herself sound weird, So you either know you got a plan or you don't. It's not no consistency. You don't know, you just don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. You just making stuff up as you go. And the thing is, I just feel like with Mary, she just thinking that I'm a dictator. I can change the rules as I go. And that's not how it works. You're changing the rules to fit your needs. But your little white ass doing whatever the hell you want to. Mhm. it's money, I mean, it's some hard work. Because you got to go out there for mold, you got to do all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people don't get there until they get into their life. And it's not that bad. Like you start, like I tell people, if you do it on your own, wheelchair man.
These flagpoles rocking back and forth, swaying. Those flags are really whipping out here. Again, even look at the flowers and plants that are here. Those are just whipping in the wind right here. Those trees just swaying. This I don't know if we're in the eye wall of this, Devin, but I can tell you that this wind has picked up. We've been here about 5 minutes now, and since we've got out the car, it's just intensified over the time. So again, that wind and rain, I say it's a wind and rain event happening right now in St. Charles Parish in Luling, and you can really feel it. Again, out here, no one is on the road. It seems like everyone took those precautions. They're staying inside. If you're watching this and you're thinking about going outside, don't do it. Again, we're starting to see behind us some street right here is starting to flood just a little bit. But we're going to check out those lines. You can also see the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's deputies out here patrolling this area. But that wind picking up out here in St. Charles Parish, Devin will be on the ground monitoring all the conditions throughout the evening.
Okay, Jonah, I know we've got a bit of a delay there, but you're in between systems. So essentially, there's kind of the eye wall Lockport to Raceland. We've got then redevelopment, kind of Homa back beyond. So the eye wall's starting to already kind of fill in. But there's the outer bands kind of connected to the eye wall that are here. So Fletcher, LaPlace, and St. John the Baptist, where we've got Jonah right now, these will be pockets as we get the intense rainfall to move through, tapping into those strong winds that are strongest even as we go up in the air. And those will drop through and bring us those strongest wind gusts. I believe we got Fletcher Mackel's been in Terrebonne Parish all day long, and he knew exactly when that eye wall was coming through, was showing us live how things and how bad things were getting. Then he was into the eye wall. Things were a little bit late, but Fletcher, I want to get back to him right now and see what conditions are going on with the secondary band that we started to develop here. Look at all the water that's developed. I hadn't seen that last time it looked to be, or at least you're closer to it this time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to point out, Devin. The rain has stopped, so we came out from our secure structure. You can see that some of the tree debris right here, all of these branches, Lawrence, if he goes up and to his right, you can see this tree right here obviously took a beating. All of the branches, or the majority of them, are now on the ground because of the wind. And then as Lawrence comes back towards me, again, we are here in downtown Homa, the downtown Homa Marina. Boats are tied up and secure. One of the residents that lives right across the street told us she has never seen, not even for Ida 3 years ago, she has never seen the water this high in this waterway. You can't even see where the water begins and the grass, or the grass begins and the water ends on the opposite side of this waterway here in downtown Homa. And I don't know if we made the smartest decision, because now guess what's coming back? The rain. So after we finish this Q&A, we're going to go back and take shelter, because it was a deluge earlier, as you said, Devin. Then the eye got here, and it was like something out of a movie. Snap your fingers, the rain stops, the wind stops, and we were in that eye. We even saw neighbors come out to let their animals have a bathroom break and run around. And now you can kind of feel the conditions, as you said, more of those bands coming through. The wind has picked up significantly, and now the rain is coming in again. So I don't know how much longer we have for the conditions to still be kind of moderate here, but maybe we're about to get some more bands and it's going to get rainy and windy here in Homa. I will tell you, they did lose power here in downtown Homa. We were holding out hope that maybe they wouldn't. They're out of power. We did find some people with a generator, but you see the street lights right here and the lights in this park that we're in, they're out. So power, at least in this part. I know Gina and Sala and Travers on the anchor desk have been giving updates on power. Power in downtown Homa is out right now. But the rain has subsided, at least for the time being. We know that that's not going to be it. But the wind is certainly picking up more than when you all spoke with us about 20 or 30 minutes ago when we felt like the eye was on top of us.
It's still Devin here. So what's happening is the eye wall's moving right over the eye itself, and then you're getting secondary bands, so the eye's essentially kind of already starting to fill in as the storm system's really centered moving on shore. We're already starting to see, this is something I don't want to see, this little notch that's just started. That's something we really got to watch really close. This is outside of Raceland, Lockport, Thibodeau. That is something, if we can go look at velocity data real quick here, Derek, let's see what we've got in the way of anything of any, there looks to be that maybe when you go back in time and go forward a little bit, that there could have been maybe, so this is going to be really tough because the radar beam is actually going parallel to where it's looking, so if it's in the wrong direction and if it's right where it is, you can't see if it's to or from the radar. So we're looking at winds going to and from. But right now, at least that little inflow notch, we'll see if the National Weather Service has any more inspection on that too. But I wanted to tell if Fletcher was looking at there, I've got wind gusts in Dulac, outside of Dulac, up to 96 miles per hour 30 minutes ago as that moved through. Sustained winds to 68. So I'm hearing that we actually have Ariel that's out in the metro right now. As you can see, if this is the strongest winds, still kind of connected with the outer wall there, Bayou Buff, Des Allemands, Bayou Gauche to Carmel. This is still storm activity, kind of a secondary band just out ahead of it, but really intense rain, probably gusty winds. Ariel, I want you to take it over. I want to show what exactly this is going through in the New Orleans metro right now.
Well, this is the hardest winds that we have felt thus far. It's about 52 mile per hour winds right now. As you can see, that rain is just peltering in right now, flying. It is a lot going on right now. I know you guys have been keeping up with some of the river parishes, but yeah, it's been ebbing and flowing a little bit as far as the rain flow, but the winds is really what's intense right now. Trees blowing, as you can see, at an angle in different directions. So we're just wanting to show you guys what's happening in New Orleans, because it seems as though that storm obviously is down in all regions. Definitely feeling the rain and feeling the wind for sure right now. I'll send it back to you guys.
Well, see, that's exactly why I want to be here and to show you exactly
rain is a little on and off, but we do expect the rain to pick up even more over the next several hours. And according to radar estimates, over the past day or so, we've already picked up 1 to 3 inches of rain closer to the coast. We'll start to see rainfall totals increase throughout the rest of the night. And many of us are going to be ending up with 3 to 6 inches of rain once it's all said and done. And taking a look at some of our current wind gusts, looks like we do see some gusts near 25 to 35 miles per hour along the coast. We've got that wind mainly out of the east. Of course, stronger winds right now still in parts of coastal Louisiana. But we may see some gusts today or tonight, upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour. That could lead to some power outages. Surge as high as 6 feet, especially in Hancock and Harrison counties. Rain is still going to be one of the bigger issues, though, with more rain expected later tonight. We'll have another breakdown of Hurricane Francine and its impacts coming up later in the show with Chief Meteorologist Eric Johnson.
And Gulfport now under a citywide curfew. It started just a few moments ago, set to last until 6 a.m. City officials say during this time, no one is allowed on public streets or property except for emergency personnel. The curfew in the cities of Bay St. Louis and Waveland will begin at 10 tonight and will last until 5 tomorrow morning.
Most coast schools were closed today and already scheduled to keep the doors closed tomorrow. To check your school district's plans, keep an eye on the ticker here at the bottom of your screen. And we also have the full list of school closures on WLOX.com. Well, the winds right now are picking up, and let's head out to Noah Noble live in Bay St. Louis.
Well, Jennifer, it is definitely getting darker out here, and Hugh, you're right. The winds out here, especially in the last 30 minutes, have just really picked up. I mean, it's been so much that we've now had to start holding the camera down because even with the sand bag on it, we're a little worried that it might tip over. Conditions out here, the rain really hasn't been too bad. It's been constant throughout the day with some heavier pours at times, but the wind is the real factor here. The palm trees out here just really blowing now. Some of the video you're looking at was taken around 4 or 5 o'clock. Some of it may be a little deceiving. Really, like I said, the last 30 minutes, this wind picking up, really starting to feel Francine's impacts here in South Mississippi, particularly here in Bay St. Louis at the harbor where I'm at now. We've been seeing a lot of boat captains coming out here checking on their boats because while there was a mandatory evacuation here at the harbor, a lot of boat captains are taking a chance and decided to keep their boats here because they don't think Francine's impacts will be that strong. A lot of boat captains coming out here checking their lines, making sure they haven't snapped. We're seeing a lot of the mass from the sailboats out here really starting to wet back and forth, a sure sign of those winds picking up here. We're going to be out here for the rest of the evening, keeping an eye on these conditions. Live in Bay St. Louis, I'm Noah Noble for WLOX News Now.
So residents in low-lying areas, they've been through this drill before, and they're moving their vehicles out to higher ground. Here's trucks and cars lining Highway 603 in Hancock County over the last few days. Residents have been moving these vehicles to the higher ground in order to help prevent damage from flooding in those low-lying areas.
And for a look at what those residents are facing right now, let's head over to Jacoby Rivers. Jacoby, that water rising out there tonight.
Yeah, Jennifer and Hugh, many people in the low-lying areas here in Hancock County, they're experts at this, like you said, and the water is slowly rising, but this is nothing for them. They already made their preparations. They are loosening, they secured all the loosening stuff inside their houses, outside their houses, secured their boats. So they were ready for this on day one when Francine was first coming in. So that is safe to say with the low-lying areas. But here on 603 Hugh, as you just mentioned, those cars are parked on the side. Here's a live look right now. Earlier, it was less cars, but now there are more cars adding on further down 603. The road is a little bit wet, so people are taking their times to avoid hydroplaning, sliding off the road, hitting one of those cars on the side of the road that you see. But it's definitely been windy out here, and a lot of rain, I should say, here in Hancock County, especially in low-lying areas. And the area we're at earlier in the Georgia States, they were part of a voluntary evacuation that Hancock County did yesterday around 6 o'clock. And that area was a mixture of vacation homes as well as people living there. And if the people who already left, they made sure their belongings were secured. But the people who stayed, they were with their friends and families, just having, just talking to each other, making sure they're okay, making sure their belongings are okay as well. So they're taking care of themselves and, just riding this one now. And I can definitely say the water is slowly but surely rising in those areas. Now we'll have another look around 6:30 here on 603 also, but throughout the entire evening we'll have another look at those low-lying areas now that Francine is making his way towards Louisiana. But until then, reporting here in Hancock County, Jacoby Rivers, WLOX News Now.
So it looks like light rain out there right now for Hancock County. Straight ahead, continued coverage on Hurricane Francine. Coming up next, we will be talking with Governor Tate Reeves.
Jade's new studio is on the 5th floor, so she went to Planet Fitness to get some quad work in. Now grocery day is a walk in the park. If a park had really steep hills. Join Planet Fitness today. Just $1 down. Planet Fitness, whatever you're getting fit for. News Now at 6.
Sponsored exclusively in high definition by Chevron Custom Royal.
FEMA officials ready to hit the ground running whenever they need to. Search and rescue teams are already being ready to deploy, right?
That's exactly right. We've already deployed over 100,000 sandbags to our partner counties in South Mississippi. We're fortunate that in our coastal region we have local search and rescue assets. We also have a state search and rescue team that has been pre-positioned to help with those counties where that's not the case. We pray that we don't have to use those assets today, that everyone gets through safely. But in the event that someone does need help, we're going to be there to help them.
And if there are significant impacts, Governor, how long do you think it would take the state to come in with some sort of help if necessary?
Well, obviously, we want everyone to prepare to take care of themselves to the extent possible. But the fact of the matter is, what we're really concerned about in this particular storm is the fact that we have a lot of dead trees in the state of Mississippi. We've already had a lot of rainfall, as you mentioned earlier in your show. And so with a really wet ground and a lot of dead trees, and now wind shear coming in, we can certainly see a disproportionate number of power outages across the state in this particular storm. We've already got power companies from a lot of other states that have repositioned their assets so we can try to get that power back on as quickly as possible. But that's one of the biggest risks in this storm is that we can see a lot of loss of power, and it can take time to get back on just because of the potential enormity of that situation.
Yeah, and like you touched on earlier, Mississippi really no stranger to this kind of severe weather, unfortunately. Just Hurricane Katrina, just last year we had that tornado over at Moss Point. It is important to note that we still do have several months left in the hurricane season. What's your advice to people at home fearing for this storm and maybe any future storms?
Well, Jennifer, one of the things you mentioned that I think is critically important is these storms, while obviously it hit landfall at a Category 2, it's declined a little bit over the last closer to a Category 1 storm, maybe even headed to a tropical storm as it moves north, which is often the case. But what we saw in Austin and what we've seen in other parts of our state is the spin-off tornado activity can be very dangerous. And so we need everyone to be prepared over the next 12 to 24 hours all throughout our state to be prepared for what may come, because every one of these storms are different and they don't all produce significant numbers of tornadoes, but some of them do. And so I think what my message to everyone across South Mississippi is, you certainly know how to deal with weather such as this, but always know that every storm is different and be prepared no matter what may be thrown at you.
Okay, Governor Reeves, thank you for joining us. And the forecast shows this storm pretty much moving through the entire state of Mississippi, with impacts being felt even in the northern counties as we move forward. So you'll be watching it throughout the night and tomorrow. Governor, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
And we'll have the latest on Hurricane Francine as it makes its way through southeast Louisiana. We'll have the latest forecast coming up right after the break, but first, here's a look at what you can expect a little water.
Jade's new studio is on the 5th floor, so she went to Planet Fitness to get some quad work in. Now grocery day is a walk in the park. If the park had really steep hills. Join Planet Fitness today. Just $1 down. Planet Fitness, whatever you're getting fit for.
In Candy Crush, there are winners. And more winners. Go for glory with Candy Crush. Play now.
Dora's got a brand new show filled with new adventures that are bigger than ever. So grab your family and watch Dora, the new show, September 16th on Nickelodeon, and available now on Paramount Plus.
Before you hire one of those billboard guys, why don't you ask that billboard guy, when is the last time you tried a civil jury trial? It's July 2024.
Cold red ignorant. It ain't my dad's razor, Dad. Hey, watch it. It's Flash Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face. Game changer. While the Flex, this contours to it, so the 5 blades can get virtually every hair washed out for the ultimate generation.
When I want to feel my most powerful, it starts with Venus, with 5 ultra-sharp blades and water-activated serums for incredible glide. I feel the difference with every stroke. Feel the power of smooth.
If you're 59 or older, in a shipyard or oil field, or watch someone's clothes differ, you and your family may have been exposed and qualify for cash compensation. Call KRW Lawyers now, 888-315-3997. That's 888-315-3997. This is not a lawsuit against the company you work for. Over 30 billion protection. Call 888-315-3997. That's 888-315-3997.
Now, Melanie Wallowitz post-alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Eric Johnson.
All right, looking at our Slipper Tower Canyon, Bay St. Louis, and Hancock County, the water definitely looking a lot more rough, and you can see the camera bouncing around as well. So the winds are beginning to pick up along the coast. Here's the latest on Hurricane Francine, currently about 20 miles southeast of Morgan City, Louisiana. It made landfall earlier as a Category 2 hurricane in Terrebonne Parish
about 30 miles south of Morgan City earlier today. So winds currently back down to 90 miles per hour. It is currently now a Category 1 storm. It did make landfall as a Category 2 hurricane, but now it's weakening now that it has made landfall, but it's moving pretty fast to the northeast at 17 miles per hour. Notice here, here's the forecast track from National Hurricane Center. Notice this here. This is the track that it has actually taken. Notice over the last couple of hours or so, last 2 hours, it has made that northeasterly turn. Forecast to continue moving off more toward the northeast. We'll watch to see if it stays more up the center of the track or maybe on the right side, but regardless, South Mississippi over the next couple of hours, we're going to see the rain bands and we're going to see the strong gusty winds. We'll have that opportunity for those quick spin-up tornadoes. We'll have a better view of the track. Notice it's just been kind of wobbling and going back and forth there as made landfall over towards Terrebonne Parish earlier this evening. So looking at the bigger picture, notice Francine has a very large eye, in fact, about 50 miles wide estimated as it's moving through Morgan City, and it looks like the outer edge of that eye wall, the area where those most intense winds are, which is this, what you see here wrapping around the center, that is making its way towards New Orleans. And so South Mississippi on the right side of a hurricane, we're going to see some impacts. We're going to see those rain bands continue. We're also noticing this rain band right here just off the coast. It is starting to get a little bit more organized, and we're going to start seeing those heavier amounts of rain and those stronger gusty winds with that start to make their way on. Here's some of the wind speeds we've seen in the past hour or so. Along the coast here in South Mississippi, we're gusting anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour at times, but we're seeing stronger wind gusts, of course, where the center of the storm is. 71 mile per hour wind gusts. So looking at the current wind field, notice the tropical storm force winds extend 115 miles away from the center of the storm, and those tropical storm force winds, sustained winds, are now moving over into Hancock and parts of Pearl River County. And over the next couple of hours, we'll gradually see those tropical storm force winds move into South Mississippi, with the stronger winds staying just to our west. So the worst of the impacts most likely staying across southeast Louisiana, but here in South Mississippi, it's going to be a little bumpy at times with the gusty winds. Can't rule out some quick spin-up tornadoes. There is a tornado warning effect for Hancock, Harrison, Jackson counties, also Pearl River County. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe George and Stone were included in that later on. At the radar, you can see that high wall. And again, that's some very strong winds. That's where you're going to find those 90 mile per hour winds that is currently set at the latest advisory. That is moving towards New Orleans. So some very strong winds about to cross over Lake Pontchartrain. Over into South Mississippi, just off the coast of Hancock County and Harrison County, we're seeing more organized rain bands make their way onto the coast towards Waveland, past Christian, Gulfport, Biloxi. You might start seeing the rain pick up just a little bit. Over into Jackson County, not seeing too much at the moment right now, but we are watching these rain bands that are just to the south and west of you, and those are lifting north towards Jackson County. A little bit further inland, Pearl River, Stone, and George counties are seeing some light rain, some gusty winds, but right now the winds are much stronger along the coast and further off towards the southwest towards Hancock County. So the latest forecast track, again, the storm passing just to our west. We're on the right side of that. That means we're going to see those impacts. Look at the big picture. Despite Francine kind of dealing with some wind shear and dry air, you can see the dry air very well on the water vapor, all the oranges and reds. Overall, Francine has kind of fought off the dry air a little bit. And you can see the upper level winds are starting to shear those thunderstorms away from the center. Now that it's getting a little bit further north, it's riding around this area of high pressure that is centered just to the south. Also have this dip in the jet stream here that's trying to tug Francine off towards the north and towards the east. So time to get out our future camps. Overnight tonight, over the next couple of hours, things will start to go downhill. We're going to have some heavy rain bands pass through, some strong gusty winds at times. Can't rule out quick spin-up tornadoes as these rain bands spiral across South Mississippi. Notice by 10 o'clock, seeing those rain bands still moving on through. Here they are by midnight, the center of the storm passing just to our west. There are some hints that perhaps that dry air starts to wrap around the bottom half of Francine, and perhaps the rain starts to wrap up after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but before it's all said and done, up to 6 inches of rain is possible in some spots. Those winds and those rain bands can rule out some wind gusts
up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher than that at times. So again, overnight tonight, in the state weather aware, we're going to watch Francine very closely. We're going to have a look at 7-day forecast at the end of the show.
Dora's got a brand new show filled with new adventures that are bigger than ever. Oops, sorry. Meet incredible friends. Learn something new. What shape is that? A triangle. And go bananas. So grab your family. You're such a good big sister, Dora. And watch Dora, the new show, September 16th on Nickelodeon, and available now on Paramount Plus.
If you ended in a wreck, don't let the insurance company disrespect you with a lowball offer. Or even worse, no offer at all.
When I was injured in a wreck, the insurance company claimed that I was at fault and refused to make offer for my injuries.
You gotta crank it up.
Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything. Building your online business? Go to Wix.com and set.
Thank you for joining us and sharing your insight here on Fox Weather. And please be safe throughout this event. We're going to take it now from Baton Rouge, and we're going to go over to Robert Ray. He's out in the field and talking about Houma, Louisiana. And Robert, I got to address, you got the helmet on, and that's, of course, because of the safety. Talk to us about what you've seen. You've changed locations there, and it seems like you're around the power crews.
Yeah, well, this is city officials with Houma, and there are a lot of downed trees. We've been driving around. The winds are really intense right now, too, and they are driving debris everywhere, trees and signs. And
Introducing the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's. Now say that 5 times fast.
to kind of track with me, and I'm being very, very safe and calculated here about where I'm walking. I don't want to get hit by something. And I actually had a piece of debris hit me in the face earlier. I don't know what it was. But you see trees like that behind me that are down, and these big live oaks above right now. Whoa, the big heavy wind gusts right now. Coming down the street in downtown Houma, and maybe Tomas. If you see that tree that already fell and it's being pushed and it's being moved around as the winds just break through the downtown area. This little piece of trailer was not here earlier. Clearly, we don't know where that is from. But what you're seeing right now, Steve, is, it's not the northern eye wall anymore, northeastern eye wall. But this is what the back end does with that counter twist. It's never over once you think it is. And that is the importance of this. There's no power here, by the way, in this pocket. We drove about a mile that way, a mile that way. We didn't see any power. Tomas had to clean the lens because of the rain that's coming through here. Widespread outages are happening right now along the coast and in towns like Houma. New Orleans will likely see widespread outages. And now the rain is coming in, by the way. We haven't seen rain in about an hour. And we're now having the rain and the wind continue to come through. There's that law office sign again. Blew away. I'm just going to let that be. They will have to replace that at some point. But, I look down that road. It is dark. No power at all. The lights are out, and the trees are going like that way down there. I don't know, Tomas, you can potentially see as the rain whips across just inches above the roadway and the concretes, and you hear the sounds of signs, more other signs being blown around here tonight. And these officials here, and I'm just going to go and see if I can. Wow! That's that law off the sign I was trying to help there, Steve, and it almost took me in the back. Let me see if I can go up here and just kind of get a word in. Let me just check, and I'll be right back to you. But I don't know if there's anyone even in here. That's okay. These guys are by themselves and trying to assess everything that is happening here on the streets of Houma. Boy, NOLA. They are going to be in for it tonight. I'm just going to stand on the sign. I don't want this to hit any of us at this point. But, Steve, that's where we're at right now. I don't know if there's anything I can try to find. And if you look at the power lines. I'm going to put this behind us. You see the power lines above, and that's the jeopardy. We don't want any of those to fall. We don't want trees to fall on them either. I'm putting this sign here so it does not hit us again.
Yeah, Robert, it's interesting because, as you had talked about, this is not the northeastern Iowa, but it's a change in wind direction, and so much of the infrastructure in the trees are bent one way, and now that wind comes in a different direction and just snaps it, and that sign is a perfect example. It's moved in 3 different directions since you and I have talked, and that just kind of speaks to the threat that remains on the backside of these systems.
Big time, big time. It's just never over once you think it is. It's always the case. I mean, you can have the fury of an eye wall come across, and then you get this just momentary break where you get, I don't know, take a sip of Red Bull like we did, and maybe a cracker, and then you realize, man, we are in for it again, and you better get ready. And that is the problem, all up and down with these power lines and the debris. What? There's another sign about oh, wow. Man. That's this. That's why. Right here. We're protecting ourselves. And we're going to probably get in our vehicles in a second. Our vehicles are actually, Tomas, I don't know if you want to show them what we got going here.
That's smart
Our vehicles
move.
are sitting right next to this structure.
Yeah, it's a smart move, Robert.
They're not going to get hit.
With all that, there's another sign, as you had before. Those are big metal signs, as you have talked about. And usually there's a nail attached to that or a screw. There's jagged edges to that, and it could be, yes, go ahead.
Look at this. We've got a roadblock sign that just flew, like one of those road blockage. Tomas is going to move a little bit here. Hang on, make sure his wire is not going to pull out. But you see that, Tomas, down there?
Oh, yeah.
That's that sign, that roadblock thing just flew across the road and landed. It looks like up against a curb, so that's why it's not quite moving right now. But yeah, we're starting to see a lot of debris move across the streets here, as you've seen live on Fox Weather. Steve?
Incredible work. Fox Weather correspondent Robert Ray keeping us up to date, but also our photographer Tomas doing an incredible job on a swivel here, showing you all of those impacts. So much unfolding still now in Houma, Louisiana. Robert, thank you. Please get in the car. Stay safe, my friend. We'll talk shortly. Let's talk more about Francine. This is where it officially made landfall as a cat.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Through car donations, vehicles for veterans, offers, and
109 wildlife species, added 1,500 acres of parkland, and stewarded over 900 miles of trails. These are the perks, so they're here forever.
Floor sport is so much more effective than the other